Hey, Brad Kazmarski, welcome back. We're finishing off shoulder mobility correction today. Previously we've gone through just evaluating what we need, and then we've gone through the corrections from ground-based to quadruped to kneeling, and now we're finishing with standing position. Standing in shoulder mobility is actually where we also do the screening, so it's a pretty straightforward process of if we can do it or not, and if the corrections work or not. So, in standing, I don't do any T-spine movement. I think the last one we do that at would be seated, where we rotate with the stick. Anything when we go standing, too many other moving parts kind of throw that off, so I don't think it's necessary. If we've gotten our T-spine mobility on the ground, and we've gotten it in quadruped, and we've also kept it in seated, we're probably okay in standing, although some motor control might throw that off, but that's different. So some of our corrections initially in standing are going to be the same that we did in kneeling, which is going to, or seated even. So we're going to go to the wall slides, but now we're going to do standing. And we're also going to do our cable lift and or cable chop. I like cable lift especially. But we're going to do that in a standing position, so we can go regular standing, or we can do a split squat standing. But either way, and I'll film these when I get into work, so you'll have a direction of these videos. But once we can get those down, and we can go back and test it, and we can get our proper twos at least in mobility, now we can go to some of the keeping it patterns in shoulder mobility. And I think once we have this cleaned up, our keeping it patterns now are something like the Turkish get up, which is a great transition movement. A waiter's carry, which would be one, so you pack the shoulder and do waiter's carry that way, and a one-arm farmer's walk versus a two-arm. I like the one-arm because you kind of have to balance your shoulder. And if you read some of Evan Osar's stuff, he talks about the ability to maintain stabilization on one side while moving the other. So once you've cleaned up into standing position through the correctives that you're fine getting your even symmetry on these patterns, then the Turkish get up, a waiter's carry, and a farmer's walk, plus your other just basic push, pull, and pull exercises are going to work on shoulder stabilization, being able to maintain the shoulder mobility that you need to get. Okay, so we've worked from the ground to standing. And basically the three things I've decided to look at are T-spine mobility, internal and external rotation, and being able to combine that movement, so internal and external rotation with being able to move the spine. This should cover most people. If you follow this correction and breakout all the way through, most people are going to be fine through this. If they aren't, you probably need to go see a PT or a chiropractor or a doctor and let them work on it. Evan Osar has some good stuff on how to get scapular stabilization and some things to look at with eccentric control. But that's a little more advanced, so first go through this entire progression. You don't need to go to advanced. Advanced doesn't mean better, it just means if you need it. So first follow this whole progression I have for you. Most people will follow that just fine, and you can move it right into their training program. If you need something more, then that's where you go see those medical professionals. But now we've gone through, we've cleared all of active straight leg raise, we've cleared shoulder mobility, and we're ready to move on to our rolling patterns.